Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Market Moves. Today is officially September 5th, 2025. I'm the Money Lady, Cheree here, here to give you just some information with regard to what's happening in the economy, whether it's national, local, how that's affecting housing affordability, mortgages, things like that, and give you some tools as realtors and real estate professionals in order to win in today's market. So, I'm going to start our presentation this morning and we're going to get this party started. So, let's come here. Perfect. All right. So, market moves for today. The purpose of market moves again is to give you like a weekly rundown of all of the important things that are happening, basically based on the buyers that are out there, what they're reading, what headlines they're reading, and how you are able to navigate those conversations with those buyers. So, agenda today, we always talk about rates a little bit, what's happening with the rates. We're going to talk about this morning's jobs report that just came out about 22 minutes ago, the buyer strike, and a little bit about home affordability and moving your buyers off of the sidelines. So, rates right now went down a little bit. As of yesterday, they were about 6.5% for a 30-year fixed. Remember, the 6.5% is for your grade A person, which basically means that they have like an 800 credit score and hardly any debt, things like that. So I have been quoting buyers and locking them in the higher sixes, lower sevens still. So just as you are speaking with buyers and they see, oh, the rate is really 6.5%, that really is their own personal rate, really is based on like 28 different factors, including things like their debt to income ratio, and some other risk factors within their own profile. So just letting you know that. The labor market is cooling right now. This was as of earlier this morning. They were showing that there is some risk within the economy that the recession is coming or is here. A lot of people believe it is here. Economists are starting to believe that the recession is here. Some people on the ground have felt like it's been here for the past couple of years. So, also, the labor market is really cooling. And when we have a situation where the labor market is not as strong, and the consumer purchasing is slowing down because people don't have as much money, or they're like a little unsure about their jobs and they just want to hang on to a little bit more of their money. They're not spending, quote unquote, frivolously. Then we are in a situation where the Fed rates are going to start going down. So, a lot of people, including Warren Buffett, are in agreement that there's going to be a shift with regards to mortgage rates and housing over the next few years. So, this past week, there were a couple of metrics that came out that I just wanted to let you know about. The first is job openings. So, job openings, the forecast was 7.4 million. This week, it came out at 7.2 million. ADP employment is basically your private employment. The forecast was 75,000, yet the actuals was about 54,000. So again, this is where we're seeing the cooling labor market. And for people who are looking for jobs, it's a lot harder for them to find jobs. The layoffs are coming, but they're not as many of them as there were maybe last year. So the people who are secure in their jobs are secure. However, if they have a spouse or somebody in their family whose job is not as secure, that's where we're going to see the shrinking amount of spending that's happening for those individuals. So, um, factory orders, 4.8% last month. It was, sorry, negative 4.8% last month, negative 1.3% this past month. So, what that means is that the manufacturers are starting to order a bit more goods, and part of that could be still in preparation for the holiday season. Yet, it is not as strong as it has been in years past. So, again, we're getting a lot of indicators that the economy is cooling. And then this fourth thing that came out this past week was construction spending, which was pretty much flat in July. We are seeing now that new construction housing prices are less than existing homes, right? We are seeing that construction companies are less likely to take a chance on building a lot of new housing. However, as the market shifts and as we see interest rates go down, we should see buyer interest go up. We should see the number of buyers increase in the marketplace, and we'll probably start to see that construction number rise again. So we'll see when that happens, maybe sometime next year. This morning, new data came out. Payrolls rose $22,000, sorry, 22,000 in August, but it was less than expected, which is showing that hiring is slowing down. So this again, fresh off the press, came out this morning at 8:30 with regards to the payroll numbers. So more and more people are more and more sure that the Fed is going to reduce interest rates. Okay. So as you're talking to buyers this weekend, you may run across some buyers who are like, I want to wait to put offers in until the Fed actually reduces the interest rate. The truth is that the mortgage rates today have already included that expected Fed cut of 25 basis points. Now, if the Fed cuts the rate 50 basis points, so basically twice as much as we're expecting, then you'll see a shift in like a major shift in the mortgage rates. Or if the Fed does not cut rates at all, then you'll see again a major shift in the mortgage rates. But basically, when the Fed meets, if they're going to do as expected, which is cut 25 basis points this month, then the mortgage rates, unless there's some other economic factor that comes in, the mortgage rates are pretty much going to be the same. So your buyers might as well put that offer on the property that they like today. And within the industry, we are suggesting that people actually lock in their rate before the Fed meeting. So if you have a borrower or buyer or a client who's looking at properties this weekend, they see something that they like, they're putting in a competitive offer, um, and we'll have some more information about that as well. But if they're putting in a competitive offer and their offer is accepted, encouraging them to lock in their rate before the Fed meeting is going to be the best thing to do for your buyers. So, a guy named Wolf Richter said the buyer's strike, which started in mid 2022, has now completed its third year. Buyers are waiting for prices to come down. They're waiting for their household incomes to rise, and they're waiting for rates to come down. So, this is the trifecta of what buyers are waiting for, right? And I believe personally that one or two of these three things may happen. So, again, the three things are buyers are waiting for prices to come down, they're waiting for their household incomes to go up, and they're waiting for rates to come down. So, three things, right? The rates probably will come down. There's a lot of agreement with it throughout the economic universe that rates are going to come down in 2026, right? Could even be below 6% by the end of 2026. Not Cheree guarantee, just what the economists are saying, right? So we see that. However, oh, and number two, sorry, that their household income's increasing, that's going to depend on the individual household, right? Are they in line for a new job, or things happening in their industry where they would expect to see their household incomes increase? I am seeing a lot of unmarried couples starting to buy houses together as well. So that is a household increase. I find somebody, we believe we're going to get married and we're starting to formulate our households. Other ways households can increase is, for example, me, I combined households with my mom, and our household incomes individually increased because now we are pooling our incomes together. So that multi-generational living is happening as well. What I don't see happening is buyers waiting for housing prices to come down. They're coming down now, right? They're coming down now because we're seeing one third of the listings on the market in the DC market, Metro DC, right? We're seeing price decreases for those listings. So we are seeing that. So now is the perfect time for those buyers who have been sitting on the sideline to purchase. And we're going to talk about some strategies with regards to how they can think from a money point of view about this, right? But in 2026 and beyond, let's say that the rates go down to 5.9%, so below 6%. The chances of the housing prices going down as well when the rates go down significantly are low. And the reason for that is because for every 1% decrease in rate, for every 1% decrease in rate, there are an expected 5 million people who will enter the housing market. So, the other thing I don't really hear a lot of people talking about, but I see it in my everyday life, is the fact that inheritances are coming as well as the baby boomers start passing, the silent generation starts passing, they are leaving money to their millennial and Gen Z heirs. And those individuals are choosing to take some of those inheritances and purchase properties. So, and then some of the parents and grandparents of these millennials and Gen Zs are gifting the down payment and closing cost to their heirs, right now. So that is another way for additional buyers to enter the market. And because of that, I'm not sure that housing prices are going to come down that much, especially if rates come down. So that is just something else to think about. Another big thing that came out last week was that it is cheaper for individuals right now to buy versus rent. So we've had this conversation as real estate professionals with buyers, and right now the cost of rent. This is nationwide, but this is also in the Northern Virginia area. The cost to rent right now is just less than the cost to buy. However, when people are looking at being stable, for example, in their housing. They're looking at where they want their kids to go to school. They're looking at generational legacy. They're looking at the future appreciation of an equity appreciation of those homes. Right now, as real estate professionals, that's the mental state that we want people to get into is that this is not just about it's cheaper to rent today. It really is about over the next 10 to 20 years, where do you see your life? Where do you want your life to be? Okay. So we have to ask ourselves as real estate professionals, what if 2026 is similar to 2025? What if the rates stay at 6.5%? What if the cost to rent continues to be less than the cost to buy? What if you are a listing agent and the pricing of new builds are less than the pricing of existing homes? Then what? What are our strategies as real estate professionals if that happens? Well, for listings, we are able to partner with you and we can come up with a flyer for you and the numbers where instead of you doing a price reduction, maybe you offer those buyers seller credits and help them permanently buy down their rate. So let's say their rate today would be 6.875%, because of their credit score and debt to income and how much you're putting down and things like that, right? Okay, great. Well, what if instead of your seller offering a price reduction, what if they offer seller credits to bring that person's interest rate down to 5.875, a whole point, right? And there could potentially be ways, and these are these are permanent buy downs as well, because people aren't as interested in temporary buy downs. So they want the permanent buy downs. So we could talk about that. We could talk about like, hey, if you pay full price for this, as long as the house is going to appraise for that amount, right? If you pay full price for this house, then we'll give you seller credits, and those seller credits could go towards a permanent buy down. Also, as you know, the seller credits can also go towards closing costs as well. So the person doesn't have to pay as much money in order for them to get into that house. Another thing that you want to think of with regards to your buyers is let's negotiate a seller credit to permanently buy down this rate. So maybe what we do is as we're looking, especially right now where the housing market is a bit softer, where the days on market is a bit longer, where, there's a third of the sellers and a third of the houses where there could be some real negotiation room. What if we negotiate a better seller credit in order to make the monthly payments for this house better for you? Or again, to reduce the amount of money that you have to bring to the table for down payment and closing costs. So, another big thing that came out was, and I did grab this from another loan officer, but I'm glad that she did this analysis. She was looking at the fact that HOAs are going up, HOA fees are going up. And when she did a side-by-side comparison of a property with HOA fees versus without HOA fees, she found close to a $50,000 housing affordability difference between a person who was buying a house in an area with an HOA versus not with an HOA. So I am working with quite a few clients who are moving away from Northern Virginia, right, to places where there are no HOA fees. Uh, also condo fees are important as well. I have one client right now, one borrower, where she's looking at condos with her agent, and the supermajority of the condos that they're sending me, the condo fees are so high that she cannot afford it. She can't afford it. So we just want to be, as real estate professionals, thinking about the HOA fees, the HOA fees. And this is where, at least when you're working with me, this is where I will let you know, like, hey, anything above X number of dollars in purchase price, you need to come to me before you put an offer on that property and let me work the numbers for you. Let me create a loan estimate for you. Let me put it back in the system to make sure with those specific numbers that this house is actually going to work. And oftentimes it's the taxes and the HOA fees that can mess up somebody's ability to afford that house. So just want to think about that. So again, buyers don't want to be house poor. What are some of the things that we're able to do as real estate professionals to help them not be house poor? Permanent rate buy down is one of them. I will admit, depending on the price of the house and how much the rate is bought down, it may only be $100 a month. So we do have to look at the permanent rate buy down as a tool that we're able to use, but it is possible, right? The other thing with the seller credits is maybe the person just doesn't have to bring as much to the closing table. I had one buyer recently, he only had to bring $200 to the closing table. And some of the seller credits, because this was a VA loan, some of the seller credits went to one of the debts that he had um, on his credit report. He was able to pay down some debt as well. Again, this is only for VA loans, but sometimes those things are possible, right? Okay. So, house hacking could be another way that buyers can get around becoming house poor by purchasing a house. And then at our company, we have a program where if a person buys today and they're refinanced within 24 months, we will not charge them lender fees. Now, they may still have to pay title fees, um, and sometimes there is a need for a new appraisal. That just really depends. But we will do the refinance with no lender fees because we want our borrowers to win. We want them to be able to get those lower rates as the rates go down. So, they don't have to sit on the sideline and wait in order to purchase a home. We also have loan consultations, buyer strategy sessions. Let's say you have somebody who wants to buy in 2026. Maybe they have credit issues, things like that. Let's talk with them. Let's kind of put pen to paper, put some numbers together and say, okay, this is going to be your strategy in order to purchase in 2026. You're going to get X number of dollars saved up. You're going to maybe pay down this debt, or maybe we have them pay down the debt at the closing table, different things like that that they're able to do. Down payment assistance programs, things like that that they're able to do in order to be successful. So, we have some upcoming economic reports coming this week. We have um, consumer credit report coming out on Monday. The monthly budget for the United States of America is coming out this week, or sorry, next week. Consumer sentiment numbers are coming out next week, and some more inflation numbers are coming out next week as well. So this is still ahead of the Fed meeting that's going to be happening. So, they're going to be using all of this data to figure out if they're going to lower the interest rates. The Federal Reserve is going to lower the interest rates. So, and I'm on call this weekend. So if you need me, 571-583-4600 is the phone number. You can call or text me. And as long as I am by my computer, I will also be able to help you with any loan estimates that you have. Alrighty then, that is it for today. Thank you so much for being here for Money Market Moves. And I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.